Okay.
Hi, this is Karen Thomas, and welcome to the Summit Seekers virtual chat. Now, if you like what you hear on our chat, please give us a hashtag replay and do us a comment of what your aha moment was. Now, today we ran a little late. I kind of got sidetracked in being excited about something else that I had been in a meeting before. So I hope anybody that was trying to get in comes back. But if not, Mr. Brian has hung in there to be part of our chat today. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. And of course, if you have any questions or comments that you would like us to discuss in our chat, please send me a direct message. If you can't attend, we love that you watch the replays. All right, take it, Mr. Brian.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. My name is Brian Key South. I am known as the College Admission King because I've helped more than 500 students of all ages and backgrounds get into their dream school through my advocacy, coaching, and mentoring for the past 16 years. I've helped them get into more than 60 colleges, elite colleges around the United States, and even students that were from other countries that applied to the U.S. I was able to help them get into their top schools. And the reason why I'm able to do this is because growing up, I had a tumultuous childhood, and I was placed in special education in school for the learning disabled, even though I could read by the time I was 5. And I read like over 10 or 15 books. Even when I was 10 years old, and I know that even a lot of adults barely even read one. So I want the clients I work with not to go through the pain that I did in our apathetic and inefficient public education system. And so I offer them personalized lifelong support. Some of my clients I've worked with have been for over 14 years, the same people, and I'm once a mentor, always a mentor. I think my top 5 qualities is that I'm patient, I'm dedicated, I'm persistent, and I'm enthusiastic about learning. And that's why. And some of the my major accomplishments are that I wrote a book, Demystifying College Admission, which is available on Amazon, and it is like a utility knife of college admission. Not only provides practical step-by-step guides, but also personalized advice and support to help people succeed in college and beyond. When I'm not doing my work, I like to say hello to the flowers in my neighborhood, and when they say hello back to me, I snap photos of them and post them on Facebook. And that's it.
Wow, that's cool. So that you have done amazing with learning the stuff in boot camp. So what is your take on the Forbes Riley boot camp that we have been attending now for this week?
Oh, it's one of a kind. I've been to hundreds of networking groups. I've spoken with hundreds of coaches. I invested tens of thousands of dollars, mostly money I didn't even have, to get support. And she has a unique blend of someone who's very success and driven, but yet she's very personal. In many ways, I feel, she's a perfected version of me, because
Cool.
yeah, because for one thing, I share her philosophy of showing up 15 minutes early. She does that. She's very personal, and even she goes out of her way. Like the fact that she was offering another 4 days of boot camp. That's
For
really
free.
phenomenal.
For
For
free.
free.
All of a sudden, we now have a 5-day boot camp that is going to 9 days. Who does that?
That's unheard of. I mean,
Who does that?
No, I've paid a lot of money, for and the service was only good for a day or two, not even consecutive days, and it wasn't even all that good, there definitely was very, unless you paid additional amounts of money, you wouldn't get any more attention than I call it the teaser session,
Mm-hmm.
because it's enough to whet your appetite, you know, I think that's the traditional formula. It whets your appetite,
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, you get a little snippet about and if you're really astute, you could probably take one or two of the values in their free training and probably do really well. But the philosophy is the best is yet to come if you pay a certain amount more money, to get into
Exactly.
their,
I
yeah.
did when not I attended Real Summits, which is a whole nother platform for selling programs. And this is where I initially started with Forbes when I bought her 1 Minute to Millions class up front. When I
Right.
saw her presentation, her
I'm
pitch
gonna
for her.
hook my speaker up so I can hear you even better.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I took her the course the first time, I was blown away how by changing and going through a formula of 12 sentences, you can totally have people understand what you do and not be salesy. But the thing is for anybody that's followed what I've done is, I've been branding and tweaking what I'm doing. But for anybody that's curious, where did the Frumpy Business Fixer come from? It came from Forbes's, my name is Karen Thomas, and I am best known as the Frumpy Business Fixer because
Mm-hmm.
I have sold over $1 million in products in my MLM.
Hmm.
What I'm up to now is helping my sister entrepreneurs that are mothers that want to make a little bit of extra money for their families know how to build a business and give them the support and resources to do that. Now, that isn't the total 12 sentences. But see, the thing is, Brian, when you're doing an introduction, we have to, as Forbes said, you pick and choose the sentences out of it.
Yeah.
You get to know all the answers to the 12 questions. And then depending on your situation, you now have things that you can pull out depending on who you're talking to. Now, for those of you that say, oh, but I do so many things. I do this and I do this. That's the beauty of the 1 Minute to Millions formula, because you write a different one. When I do my pitch on the showcase, which, okay, people, there's going to be a showcase on September 1st, noon to 3 p.m. And you get to hear all the pitches, all the different beautiful people, what they've learned and what they do. And you get to see firsthand what you missed, what you missed by not coming to the boot camp. But that's okay. Forbes is dedicated to bringing our sisterhood, our whole entrepreneur family, men and women, into making money being an entrepreneur. That she's dedicated this next part of her life to teaching people what she's been doing for the last 30 years. So my pitch, now I told you my one that I worked on before because I've been an entrepreneur. I've built a business. I want to teach other girls how to get out of themselves, and create the life they want. But it's not the only thing I do. You see, I do several things. So what is going to be in my showcase? Well, I am Karen Thomas, and I am best known as the diabetes disruptor diva, because I have spent my whole life eating sugar And I have developed strategies for keeping my blood sugars balanced, even though I have a diet of sugar. Now, what I'm up to now is helping other people who are either pre-diabetic or already trying to manage diabetes with the strategies that I've developed to win in being healthy in the next chapter of their life. Now, when I'm not working, I'm doing the boot scooking moogie. You can reach me at KarenThomas.live for further information. Now, that's not the whole 12 sentences. But the thing is it's a 1 minute to millions. She teaches these 12 sentences and how to write them out. She has, it's a formula. Guys, life doesn't have to be hard, but you got to figure out what you need to say to help people know without saying, hey, buy this. I've been doing these keto things and I've got this jewelry, $5 jewelry. Come look at it. You have to give people the reason and why you do what you do. They're not going to care about the jewelry until they care about why you do it. So I invite you. You'll see my posts, but I invite anybody that sees this replay, Friday, September 1st, come here. It's free. Okay, you want the link? The link will be in the comments. The link for going to the showcase. Come see it. Show for part of it. Just come. Register for it. 12 to 3. Maybe you can only do, maybe you have lunchtime. Do 12 to 1. Come see what we were working on and what we did in our boot camp, our 1 minute to millions boot camp. You will not be disappointed. You get to see you'll get to see me, you'll get to see Mr. Brian, because he's working on it. We're all working on it. The thing is it's when you work on it, what does it take, Brian?
Just takes consistency.
Practice. Practice. Anybody who writes speeches or does speeches or stands up on a stage, they practice what they're going to say. They don't just come up there and just start talking. They have a outline, they have an agenda, they have a point, because nobody wants to hear your entire story. You want to cover what the point is for that talk, for that moment. Right, Mr. Brian?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's focus. It's being very decisive and focused on what you want to accomplish in that presentation.
Exactly.
Question. So how are we going to get the link then for the event?
I haven't looked for that yet, but you get your link either if you're an affiliate for Forbes, it's probably either going to be in the affiliate in your affiliate back office.
Yeah, I think I signed up for my affiliate thing. I'll have to see how that works. I
haven't looked at that. I was sitting here working on because I was also part of her media mastery, the part that we finished with, see, that's the part she's covering next week. I've already been through 1 minute to millions. I've already been through media mastery. What I'm needing to create now is, where do people need to go? So you have to have a way you can reach me at, you can find me at. So I was sitting there, I was on Namecheap getting the URLs that she was suggesting today in class. So I was sitting there getting mine bought, getting mine done.
Right. Now, she said that for VIPs are automatically guaranteed. When I signed up for her boot camp, I did not know about the VIP process somehow or another. That, and so like, how do you become a VIP
Well, it was an upgrade, and you could have gone to back to the link, or you could have reached out to them for doing that, and you might still do that, because what she offered in VIP, but see, I didn't go VIP because I invested in her media mastery.
Okay.
And I did the 3 weeks of media mastery. So I felt like, well, I'll let other people be a part of that, because what I'm saying? I did the boot camp because there's always new things I'm writing. There's always new opportunities. I check out opportunities. I become part of things, because my journey here is about multiple streams. Even when I was the Avon lady, I had other streams of income because of things that I looked into. One part that I don't talk about real often, but when I was at the height of my $150,000 business, I used to use a credit card that gave me cash back. And 1 year on that card, I made $1,700 just in the cash back 2% or 1.5%, because I bought all of my inventory. I bought all of my product on that credit card. It's the only thing I used it for was my business. And so everything that I did, gas, product, whatever, I ran my business on this credit card, and I earned $1,700. That is another stream of income. Guys, life doesn't have to be about one thing, but if you get creative and you look into other things, and there's these apps. I'm part of an app that collects data. And it pays me for the data that all these people, if I drive by stuff, because I drive by a lot of places, I get money dropped in that they pay me for from an app. Now some of your streams of income can be thousands and thousands of dollars. Some of them can be $50 a month. But what can $50 get you for? That's half my cell phone bill. $50 could be my Dunkin' Donut habit, or my Starbucks. $50. It could be 1 tank of gas. When you add it all up, a little bit here and a little bit there, your streams of income are from multiple places, just from doing all of the same things you're doing now.
George Antoine.
That's right. Yeah, that's very true. It's just about shifting your point of view, shifting your habits. And thinking
advantage of stuff, and thinking about how can I, because even in all of those little opportunities, it's a referral thing. If I get more people into those apps, I get more money. If you like and enjoy something, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's what referral marketing is all about. That's what networking is all about. It's about telling people. Now, I don't know that you've done that so much, Brian, because you're in college admissions.
I have. I've done it. I've done it all. I've participated in numerous multi-level marketing, everything through Renatus, through Amway, and Shackley. I've looked into other opportunities while I was there. I even sold timeshares, and did all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
And some you keep with you, and some you let go. Some you try, and then some you let go. But until you try something, you just
I've been.
What?
Yeah, no, I no, piggy banking off what you said, Karen. That's true. You keep what works and you discard the rest. And in my book that I wrote, I incorporate actually some of the life lessons I learned in sales to help students academically. About being focused, about not taking no for an answer, about persisting, about setting goals. A lot of the life lessons that people do regularly in business summit, they're ignored in academia.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interesting experience about that. One time I was privately working with a young man that the parents hired me, and they gave me carte blanche to teach him what I felt was necessary during the summer before school started. So what I decided to do was kind of mix my teaching with the classics. Like he chose a book, Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. So we read that and talked about censorship and about, dystopian worlds and so forth. But then the other side of our lesson together, I decided to teach him something that, we all learn who as entrepreneurs or in the like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Never heard of it, didn't know who Napoleon Hill was. And so I shared this with the mother because I wanted to let her know what I'm teaching her child. And she
Mm-hmm.
says, "Oh, well, his father listens to that every morning." And I said, "Has he ever discussed this with his son?" He goes, "No, I haven't. And I go, "Well, if you," and so I said to her, "Well, if he finds the lessons of Napoleon Hill valuable, and that's enabling him to be successful in his business and put food on the table, why wouldn't he teach those lessons to his son? If they're good and they're important. I mean, isn't it, because you think about a good parent, they pass their knowledge on to their children, but he just compartmentalized. He just assumed, okay, if it's important to him, but can't be important to my son. But if he's getting results from something, he should be, because that's something that he could share. I mean, with his child. He didn't do it.
And those things are things that I totally understand that. Um, as people might know, I'm helping my mom who's 90, she'll be 91 next month, through her last years.
Okay.
Last year we took a 6-week road trip. I found out more about my mom and life and my mom's life in those 6 weeks than I've known in all of my 65 years.
No,
Why?
that's
Because my mother is so very private, she doesn't talk about anything. So unless you sit with her for any length of time and you try to ask a question and you try to milk it, but when you spend 8 hours in a car driving from one state to the other, she would tell me something and I would chew on it for a while, and then I'd ask another question, and then I'd chew on that
sure.
answer for a while, and then I'd ask another question. Because when you're growing up, you only get what they give you. And when they're not, my mom was a teacher. She saved all of her teaching for her classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And when
That
we came,
sounds very yeah, sure.
and so I'm now learning all of this stuff here at 60 some years old that I should have known or learned when I was a kid, but I didn't. Wasn't taught a lot of things because my mother she was a single parent way back when it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the norm. So when I was growing up, she was coming home trying to cook dinner. Maybe she had 2 or 3 jobs sometimes, and would go out doing. She taught adult education. She tutored.
Mm-hmm.
She because as a single parent teaching, teachers don't make any money. Well, it hadn't changed in 100 years.
No,
She had to have several jobs in order to try to keep us with food on the table and a roof over our heads.
sure.
So talking about, she just didn't talk. So there was no conversation at dinner. It was eat your dinner and go do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a teacher's kid, there was no not doing your homework. There was no excuse. Well, there is none. Oh, yeah, right. No, there is always homework.
Right. Well, I think a trend that I'm changing in the work that I do is sort of the opposite of what most people, or particularly parents with, like I'm recently working with a young man in 7th grade, and the parents want him to read more because he's not reading. So they said, assign him a book, and I said, that's not how you teach. You don't assign him. You have to show him, work with him directly about the benefits of reading, or and make it a regular habit. You have to be involved with him. You can't just simply push him in the corner and say, do this. He's not going to know what to do. So you have to discuss with them, like, why is reading important? what are some of the values that you're getting from the passages that you read? How can he apply it to things that he loves that are meaningful to him? I mean, uh, one time I worked with a fairly well-to-do family that had a daughter that loved to skate. She wanted to be like Yamaguchi, the skater,
Yeah.
the skater.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was her dream. Um, Her mom bought her a generic pair of ice skates, but they're hurting her feet. And because she lives and breathes skating, so she needs a special kind of a skate. But she didn't feel comfortable approaching her mom to buy those skates for her. But her mom wanted her to spend most of her summers with me, helping her improve her English and write.
Right.
So I proposed to the daughter, why don't we write a persuasive essay to your mom about why she should buy those skates? And so she goes, well, you don't know my mom. And I said, well, this is what I do know about your mom. I know your mom, makes really good money. I know that she values, that if you say things in a language that makes sense to her, dollars and cents, that's going to perk her interest.
Mhm.
And I know that she loves you and she wants you to be happy, even though, and her getting the tutoring is so that you have a good future. So we wrote this essay about why getting a more expensive pair of skates is actually less expensive in the long run, because there won't be as much wear and tear. She won't have to replace them.
And you
Yeah,
end
and
up with new
so
skates?
yeah, she bought her those brand new skates, and because she loved ducks at the time, and she even had a little yellow duck carved into the skates. And
Awesome.
her mom bought it, and then because what I did was I called the skate. They're called Harlequin skates.
Mhm.
I called the company and I asked them to tell me why their brand is the best and what makes them more cost effective in the long run, and
Mhm.
why they're preferred compared to the generics. So I wrote all that down and I helped her put that together in the essay. Her mom bought her this.
Yeah, you just have to.
No, we didn't pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to the company. Yeah.
Wow. See, the thing is when my kids, and this is something, and we all make our mistakes as parents and doing. One of the things though
Sure.
that I used to ask I would occasionally ask, especially if I knew it was a presentation thing, is my daughter would run up to me, mommy, 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 can I go so and so? I want to do this. And I went, no. And
Mm-hmm.
she'd go, oh, well, why? Like kids do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd look at her and say, okay, what is something you could say that might change the no into a yes?
Mm-hmm.
And she'd sit and think and do, well, mommy, if I cleaned my room or I did such and such, and would that make a difference? I said, yeah, that could make a difference. I'd also want to know, is their parent going to be there or this or that? Tell me a little bit more about what you want and what's going to be going on there. And it might change to a yes. But it planted the
Ah,
seeds for her to not just take the no.
good. Okay. Yeah, that's
That was
great.
the point of the conversation. I picked and chose the times I could do that because I knew that she really wanted to go, and all I had to do was push a little for her to give me the better reasons why she should do it. So it's a teaching moment. I did want to go back to about the book reading and because with reruns and there's a lot of young mothers with being entrepreneurs that might see this. I love to read, and reading has never been one of my things, but one of the best suggestions I ever read about reading was that
Mhm.
as a parent, you should read the books that your children are required to read for school, so that you can
Mhm.
have the discussion with them. What chapter are you on? Oh, did you see that such and such did that? What did you think of that?
Yeah, when I was when I was working with kids in school, I made a point of reading every single book that they were assigned to read. And with this young man that I'm working right now, we're reading together. Not in other words, I'll
Right.
read a paragraph, then he reads a paragraph, and then we discuss, and that's how I'm getting him to read because we're
And
we're
and
we're
and that's the whole
engaged
thing.
together.
Or even if
Yeah.
you know what kind of books are going to be covered in like their next school year. Oh, or
Hmm.
they're talking about the book they have to read. Oh, that would be a cool book. Why? I'd like to read that. When you act excited about a story and you act like it's something you want to do, it makes the child or makes them like, oh, well, maybe that would be worth doing.
Right, because you know what? I mean, isn't it true, Karen, that the children are just miniaturized version of our audience, like in our pitch group? I mean, it's like
Right.
if you don't pitch them properly about why they should read or what, I mean, if you're excited, you're enthused, they're and you pitch them, they're going to be interested. I mean,
It's it's
um,
it's the perfect thing about, you know, being a part. Your kids want your attention. Give it to them in a way that empowers them. Forbes tells the story. I don't know if you've heard this story. I've been in so many Forbes classes. So one
yeah.
of her best stories, she said, I never had to make my kids do anything. She said, I'd wait till they wanted something. She said, they'd come up to, because she had twins. They'd come up and say, oh,
Oh.
mommy, we want a cookie. Can we have a cookie? She says, have you cleaned your room? You can have a cookie when you clean your room. Oh, she
Mhm.
said, and they run off, clean their room. We're back. We got it done. Can we have a cookie now? She'd wait till they wanted something and then she would ask them to do something for it.
Okay.
But,
Yeah.
and I thought, oh, wow, that's so brilliant. Brilliant. She says, I was
Mhm.
always the good mommy. She says, I didn't make them do anything. I gave them the reason. They wanted something. I got what I wanted and they got what they wanted.
That's very true, and that's been my approach in working with them too. I have that are very concerned about some of their children's behavior, about things they don't want them to do. And I said, well, rather than focusing on what they don't want to do, let's focus on what they do want to do, and get them excited so much about that the behavior that the self-sabotaging behaviors that they were doing before will no longer be relevant. They won't serve them anymore. One parent told me an amusing story about a young man that was just letting his hair grow wildly. He wasn't keeping himself, his hygiene wasn't so good, and she would insist that he, clean up his act, and he didn't want to. But then one day I think he met a young lady and he wanted to impress her. So all of a sudden, well, now he wanted to cut his hair and make himself look nice and everything, so it's the same way, because it's kind of like the law of attraction, right? We keep getting what we focus on. So if
Right.
they focus on all the things they don't want them to do, they're just going to keep getting repetitions of them doing stuff
Exactly.
they don't want them to do. But if you get them really excited about things they want to do, or if you can help them paint a picture of what their future would look like if they do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
then they just won't. Because I think my main mission, or my main goal when I work with students is that they develop an enthusiasm for learning, and they're just going to want to learn on their own. They won't need a drill sergeant, needling them to get
Exactly.
tasks done. They'll naturally want to grow
Mm-hmm.
and learn.
Right. Being a teacher's kid, I struggled in school. I'm ADHD and I didn't go to college because I told my mom, I said, I can't ask you to pay for school when I couldn't hardly get through high school. I said, I can't even imagine paying for school and then struggling for another 4 years.
Well,
Now,
it's bad I wasn't there with you, because I would say not making it in high school is a badge of honor because, because college and high school are different. My
They
experience
are.
of high school, it's really more about belonging to the right clique and thinking small. College is more about mental expansion, about opportunities, about career
Right.
development. I mean,
Oh,
some
I
people in
get it.
high
And
school
now
are,
and
yeah,
now I
yeah,
understand. And my youngest daughter went to college. I wanted both of mine to college, and I told them the reason I didn't go. I thought I was
yeah,
stupid. It wasn't until I built my $150,000 business and people said, "How did you do that?" And I had all the systems.
right,
I had it all. I had it organized. I had employees who did billing and who took order. I had it so. And people say, "How did you do that?" I said, "I don't know. I just did it."
hmm,
Because then I realized that I am smart.
yeah,
But when you're doing something
sure,
new, like transitioning from belly to belly and selling to people to working online and doing a whole new different kind of business and education and stuff, I felt stupid again, and I didn't feel very successful, and then somebody says, "But Karen, you did all of that. It transfers." I said, "Just because you didn't do it online doesn't mean you didn't do it. You still built $150,000 business. You still did that. You still learned how to think different."
hmm, yeah,
And when they pointed that out to me, I thought,
hmm,
"Oh yeah, I did." But that's what mentors are about. That is why we go to Forbes, and I'm part of Peter Sage, and I'm part of Kimberly Olson, because from each different one I learned something different. They all have
hmm.
their different angles that they work in, but it's about expanding who we are. Now, have you right now I'm doing a book called Force versus Power.
I've read that. Yeah.
I'm it's a lot. I'm
Mhm.
having a harder time. I'm having to really listen. I'm like, boy, this is just really pushing my brain. I love it. It's really fascinating, but
Mhm.
I do Audible, and so the author is
Okay.
reading this book on Audible, and he's doing it
Okay.
very monotone, and I have a really hard time with monotone. I almost flunked
Well,
geometry because my geometry teacher taught in monotone, and I couldn't.
right.
I'm like, okay, this is the monotone. This is what's really messing with my brain. My brain.
Well, 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 I think that's the problem with it. If someone's going to do Audible, they should change the inflections of their voice. That they should pause at certain points. With very dramatic or highly important parts, they should raise their or show excitement,
They should.
enthusiasm, or urgency. Yeah,
But when
and then
when you think of the author of Force versus Power, he's a scientist. He was it was all about the research and about the data and about the stuff. And so I understand
right.
who he is, and that he's reading it as as he tackles everything. The difference is, like, I did the Audible book on green lights. Have you ever heard of green lights?
No.
It's Michael
Oh,
McConaughey's
green light.
book.
Are you talking about McConaughey? I thought you were talking. I didn't referring to the book. I thought you were talking about applied grade. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey. Yeah,
Matthew
Matthew.
McConaughey. And he read his
And I
book, and
joined
I
this
just
group.
sat
And I
there
joined this group.
and melted the whole. I couldn't wait for any time that I could turn that book on and listen to it. Because Matthew McConaughey's reading his own book, because it is his story. And the
Yeah,
inflection and the whole creating the whole
he does.
scene.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it was just like,
Did you join this group? Because I joined this group for a while. I joined this group too.
so many groups. I probably did, but there aren't enough
I
hours.
understand.
I could add another 24 hours just to be in the groups that I'd like to be in and participate in. And because even in Forbes, with trying to do and connect and encourage people in our group, I work on Facebook. I work in Messenger, trying to portion it out, doing a little bit everywhere. And I've been building this year, I've been building my email list, and I've been building the email part of my business.
Yeah.
And so trying to get my a whole autoresponder series done for the summit seekers. And I'm sure you've been noticing I'm building the each email that I send out is now going into, when people join Summit Seekers, they're starting to get those emails one at a time as a new member.
Yeah.
Putting the things together that run your business is not about getting it all done and then starting your business. It's about doing your business and adding to it and working with it a little bit at a time.
True.
And it's trial and error. But when she talks about building an email list, that has been what I have been working with this year. And
okay.
That's, everybody, you're going to get an email about the showcase because I'm, and I'm building the landing page for you can reach me for my pitch with it. Because even though people want to say pitch, oh my God, it sounds so salesy. I don't want to pitch people.
Mm-hmm.
People, I'm going to tell you, when you learn how to do a pitch right, it's about getting a yes for people to want to know more. It's about saying things in a way that they go, wow, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. It's not about saying something and say, oh, do you want to buy it now?
Oh yeah, yeah. What she's offering is revolutionary, and it's exactly what I needed. I mean, I've joined several groups, and several of them invited panelists or attendees to pitch their product, but they never taught them how to do it. Or
right,
I was with some.
I can't do next level this year. I want to next level. I want to do next level. Are you going to do next level this year?
I would like to. How would I find out more about it? Where's the link to do it, or how do you?
I'll send you the link, Mr. Brown. I'll send you the link.
Okay, I'll say. I know that's exactly where I need to be.
Right.
And
I've already sent you the link or not, you are connected to me because you came in from my initial offer.
Right.
And so you're connected with me either way we do this, but I'll send you the link on next level.
Yeah,
just so
send me that,
and you can check out the landing, because she said it's the last one this year. I've just been doing two. I have a trip with my mom. This year I can't quite nail it this year, but next level is my next program that in Forbes Factor Live. I can't go this year, but I am going to be there next year. I am going to be there.
Okay. Well, Karen, do me a favor. Send me those links. I actually have to get on a call with somebody that I met through our group, actually.
No problem. You take care. I appreciate you waiting on me. I am so sorry I was late. And for all those that may have showed up at our time, I am sorry. Life happens, and I got distracted and forgot it was Thursday, and I was excited about some things that were just dropped on us. But bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.